Just click to go. Spacebar. All right, it's advanced, but I think I can do it. Hello, friends. Thank you for being my guinea pigs. This is a 5-minute version of the talk that I will be giving more extensively at the Write the Docs conference in May. This is, thank you. I'm excited too. This is a brief overview of some best practices I've learned about writing effective application copy. Right now, my job title is Technical Content Strategist at a small company called BetterWorks in Redwood City. We do enterprise-level goal setting for individual people working in companies. I have a documentation background. I've been writing software documentation and user documentation for about 7 or 8 years now. This is the first job where I've ever transitioned into writing product, UI, and application copy. It's substantially different, but I actually like it a lot more. I'm going to use an example here, which is a popular social media site for tracking the books that you read and that your friends are reading. It's called Goodreads. Check it out if you don't know what it is, owned by Amazon. You can see that there is a lot of user-facing and user-generated content on this page, also some ads, but there's also a lot of somewhat subtle application copy in here, all of which is the result of a direct choice made by people working for Goodreads to mine a specific result or interaction from their users. So, what is application copy? Application copy is any text that you put on the screen with the intention of triggering a response from your users. It's tooltips, placeholders, CTAs, or like buttons, interactive elements on the page, anything that is text-based, right? It's not information that is statically or dynamically generated by your system, like dates and times. It's not visual elements like star rating systems or progress bars. It's really anything text-based that your user can interact with. The cool thing about app copy for me is that application copy is documentation for people who don't read documentation. Or it's for people who don't know that you have a help center. Like they just started using your product, they're not super technical, and maybe they just can't be bothered to like find this out for themselves, right? So let's see, I'm losing my notes. There we go. So I've called out all the instances of what I would consider application copy on this page with these pink, or if you're colorblind, probably, gray highlights. I break app copy down into 3 different buckets, right? In my mind, when you're writing application copy, it should always answer one of 3 questions, sometimes 2 at a time, but always at least one. What does this do? How do I use it? And why do I care? Or why should I care? So when you talk about what does this do, you're looking for specific feature names, field names, stuff like that. How do I use it is placeholder text, like ghost text that you can type over when you click into an interactive field, calls to actions or buttons that you can click, walkthrough and tutorial content. And then when you're talking about specific kind of enterprise level product design, you sometimes sell the business case or the value prop of a specific feature in like subtitle text underneath the title of a modal, at the beginning of a menu, stuff like that, right? That's the why. So on this page, I've called out all of the what instances. You can see we've got a lot of titles, my books, community, currently reading, things that give your users a sense of what they're looking at on the page and what they can do or why they should care about like what they're seeing, right? The how, search books. Notice a lot of verbs in this section. Like, comment, preview, want, read, add, update, like all of these are like verbal triggers to your user that they can interact with this piece and go deeper into your product if they're interested in what they're reading, right? The how on this page is subtle. I really like what they do here. It's telling you, you're seeing this sponsored content, right? This sponsored book, this day shift book. Why am I seeing this? You're seeing it because it's been shelved by people as fiction and suspense. This is my Goodreads account. That's what I like to read. It's giving me a recommendation based on my interests. That's a cool feature, right? And it's telling me why. It doesn't just look like spam because there's context there to help me understand why this is important. So let's see. All right, let's talk about best and worst practices. Worst practices first. Don't use engineering language to explain things to your user base. I don't care if they're super technical. Don't say pull request, say get. The Apple App Store does this. I don't really like anything that Apple does except for this. They don't say request this. They say just get it. It's fine. It's simple. It's easy. Don't be wordy. You can change settings on this page versus here's a million settings and all of the nested menus done in a blurb underneath our title, right? Don't disrupt a workflow to explain things more completely, right? This is a nuance, but when you're enabling a feature, you don't want to go to documentation and read it before you enable it or in the middle of that process. You want to enable the feature and then get to read documentation about it or be given it in advance, right? You want to read, interact, and then read again. Use non-regional language. Did this come through? Oh yeah, it did. Great. This line got cut off in the slide sharing thing, but I'm glad it's here now. Don't say, dude, that color theme is hella sick. Even if the theme of your app is like Beachbody or like surfboards or whatever, don't say hella sick, because A, no one outside of Northern California knows what hella means, and B, sick means something in Northern California, something else on the East Coast, and something completely different to people who don't speak English as a first language. Don't do it. Say, success, your color theme is available, looks great, right? It's possible to put voice and character into your words without using jargon or region-specific dialect. Best practices. Don't be afraid to talk to your design team about reworking page elements if you can to convey this what, how, why message more clearly, right? Don't be afraid to iterate. Like in content strategy rather than documentation, I work with the design team a lot, and we're often generating copy and features, or copy and designs together simultaneously, right? Until we reach this explosive, yay, this looks really great now, and we all high five. If you're not internationalizing now, plan to do it later. Don't put variables in the middle of text strings. If you can figure out a way to internationalize multivariable text strings, please tell me what it is. Don't use jargon, don't use slang. Use calls to action as a final indicator that your user is going to be performing the action they're performing. Don't just say save, say save draft. Don't just say continue, say, move to next page, something like that, right? Like, be specific. These are CTAs are something everyone sees and everyone reads, and they're a big value add if you can do them correctly. Lots of people just ignore them. Think about mobile if you're going to be writing for mobile, especially for apps, right? Don't say it in 8 words, say it in 1 word. Don't say, just make sure I didn't put this on the list, but make sure that your naming conventions scale to mobile. This is important, right? Don't give a feature a 6-word name and expect it to fit on an iPhone screen. It's not going to. It's a bad idea. Don't do it. That's all I have so far. I think that was less than 5 minutes. I hope it was. How'd I do? 5-ish? 5-ish? Okay, great.